In this short video, I'm going to walk through my workflow for using AI to help me make a Wardley map, or at least get to a good starting point. This is a Wardley map. You can learn more about it, but I'm going to be trying to make one of these. As with many things LLMs, it starts with a prompt, and here is my capability prompt. I'm the product manager for product in the ERP business intelligence workflow, etc. space. I'm exploring this space in a product agnostic way. I'm going to frame capabilities in the format, the ability to blank. And I want you to break down these capabilities using this sentence, complete this sentence. Insert starting capability is a function of the ability to, and return the results in JSON. And if I have additional instructions, I insert them right here. So you wouldn't need to do this, but I made this little front end to enter these things. And then it hits the OpenAI API. But I might say the capability name would be buy lunch for team, the ability to keep the team well fed. And we generate capabilities, sub capabilities for that particular capability. So I'm wondering what it's going to come up with. Plan balanced meals, source quality ingredients, efficient meal preparation, adapt to preferences and allergies. So this is how we start generating these capabilities. So I grab these capabilities and I drop them into Obsidian. That's just my tool of choice. And you'll see here that I have the relationship. So there's buy lunch for the team. And then these sub capabilities are linked to buy lunch for team. But that's kind of the start about how we start generating relationships. So one thing about Wardley maps is that they have this y-axis. And the general idea is that as you get further up in the y-axis, or as the y value increases, you get closer to the customer. And as you go down the map, things become more abstracted and invisible from the customer. So we'll need to get that information somehow. So we do this with another prompt. You can see here you are helping me categorize organizational capabilities based on their proximity to different roles. This is actually the most effective way I found to do this within a value chain focused on operational excellence. I think this has to do with the domain I was hoping to model, because you have these kind of operational excellence leaders, like operational leads, chief operations officers, strategic program managers. Then you have like the people who help them, like coaches, designers, org designers. And then you sort of go down the stack. You have the operations and IT engineers, and you have the operational backbone, things like platform engineers, data engineers, and then you have the infrastructure utility layers further down the stack. And I asked it to basically tell me where this capability sits. And I'm going to feed back all of my capabilities back in to get this help. So what that lets us do is it lets us assign a value to each of my capabilities. In this case, it's y-axis level. And we've been able to assign that now. But there's a little bit more to it, and I'll explain that. You'll notice that when I get this response back from the OpenAI API, I ask it to assign a level, but I also ask it to give a rationale, and this is helpful when tuning it. So when you're doing this, you always ask back for a rationale, and you can sort of, for lack of a better word, kind of get into the thinking of the LLM, and you're able to tune it this way. So it did involve a bit of tuning behind the scenes. But then you'll notice that you only really have hierarchical relationships based on how we were developing the capabilities. And we really want to have more relationships to make more sense of what's going on. So we use another prompt. And in this case, this is the capability relationship prompt. You're given a list of capabilities. Each capability has an ID, name, and description. Your task is to identify meaningful relationships. They should be either functionally similar or enabling capabilities. Be very precise. Return JSON with a pair, a list of two related capabilities, and then either similar or enables. And the reason, a clear explanation of why these capabilities are related or how one enables the other. So in this case, you can sort of see what an example of this looks like. And then what I did at least is insert just capabilities at random and just have it be pretty strict. So it's almost as if you were kind of scanning across the board and drawing lines between things that seemed kind of similar. So what you get back are these lists of relationships, like analyze data insights, trend analysis. They're similar. Both capabilities focus on analyzing data to derive insights and trends. Analyze data insights derives actionable intelligence from data patterns, and you get a bunch of these pairs back. So if you know Obsidian and you're following what's happening right now, you kind of guess what's going on behind the scenes. We're able to, just by the relationships we've created, start to sort of more form this type of graph. But if you think about our relationships here, we've been able to start creating relationships, but you see we've been able to augment our relationships with other things because we've been getting back these responses, which makes them a lot more sort of rich. So we're getting close to the end here. You can see now we use Python. We use this library, I guess, called Network X. And what we're doing is that we're basically analyzing for clusters, looking at the number of relationships between things, like a social network graph analysis. And we're assigning things clusters, create clusters for each level. If we go back into Obsidian now, you can see we've got these cluster values. It's decided to cluster them. Now we've got the level, which is important, and we have the cluster, which is the kind of cluster within the level, which then lets us finally create a canvas. So here are all the capabilities that I created for what I need uh, in a canvas in Obsidian. And I actually use the grouping feature because that makes it a little bit easier without so many of these. But these have the different groups. Sometimes it does a good job, like time-stamped entries, audit trails for key actions, historical data preservation, field. So sometimes it does a good job. Now, interestingly, for the purposes of this, remember we have these levels. So up here is some leader, and the leader wants prioritization. And we can go down the stack and we can find the different things involved with doing that. But this is just the start, right? Like this was just to bootstrap. Now I'm going to spend a lot of time just nerding out and learning about this particular space. So hopefully that was interesting.